Japan is adamant that the restrictions are non-negotiable. So what can we really expect from these discussions?
Right, as you say, and that's exactly what Japan has made very clear. Japan's Trade Minister Hiroshige Seko last week said, fine, we can have low-level official talks on this issue, but we're not negotiating this. We're just going to explain the extra hoops that you're going to need to go through in order to import these particular materials. So Japan has restricted or has put extra controls on exports of 3 particular materials, and it's also saying that it's going to remove South Korea from what's called a white list of countries that are considered safe and not to be connected to weapons proliferation. So obviously the South Korean side wants these measures to be reversed, and we can expect a rather tense meeting, I think.
Well, given the rather uncompromising stance, Isabel, what are the chances of a reduction in those tensions in the coming weeks?
I think in the near term, the chances are pretty small. If you look at Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in Japan, he's coming into an upper house election in just over a week. And polls show that the public is very much behind his fairly tough stance on South Korea, including on these measures about exports. So he's not going to want to take a softer stance. And as for President Moon in South Korea, his whole ethos of his presidential bid was partly based on pushing Japan to really take a more contrite attitude over what it's done during the colonial period in Korea. So it wouldn't be in his interests in terms of his popular support either to take a softer line. So in addition, we're also seeing that America is not playing the strong role that it has done in the past. In the past, we've seen fairly public, high-level officials tell Japan and South Korea, hey, you've got to work together. With the Trump administration in power, we really haven't seen that happening. So there's really no impetus towards a resolution at this point.
And yet we keep hearing from local South Korean media like Yonhap saying that the U.S. is offering high-level talks with South Korea and Japan on trade. That's just coming out today. We really don't know what exactly that means, but could we see the U.S., as you said, traditionally who has played a mediator role, to come in and help out?
That could possibly happen, but I think what we've seen is that the Trump administration has not taken the same attitude towards its allies that previous American administrations have taken. They've not treated allies as important as in the past. So whether this will really become a high-level issue for the U.S. really remains to be seen. On the other hand, I think the point that some Japanese are making is that these trade restrictions are perhaps not as disruptive as they've been made out to be by some people. It's going to mean extra procedures. But if South Korean companies jump through those hoops, they shouldn't have any problem if they're legitimate companies importing the substances that they've always imported.